Enhanced Autopilot is an upgrade to basic autopilot. That much we know. But what does that really mean? What features do you get with Enhanced Autopilot that you don't get with basic autopilot? And is the $6,000 upgrade cost for Enhanced Autopilot really worth it? When my wife got her Tesla, it was kind of neat playing around with some of the features in basic autopilot. And keep in mind, this is a basic option that comes with every single Tesla that's sold. While it's a nice feature, there are some limitations with basic autopilot, which I've described in a previous video, and you can find that in the card that I'm posting here at the top of the screen. So in the summer of 2022, Tesla announced they would be bringing back the Enhanced Autopilot package. What they were really saying is, hey, if you buy Enhanced Autopilot, we're going to give you all the functionality that you get in full self-driving, less navigation on city streets, and the whole auto stop on stoplight and stop signs. So it seemed like a pretty good deal. So in this video, we'll be exploring the features that you get with Enhanced Autopilot and whether or not it's worth that added cost. Now, before we get into Enhanced Autopilot, let's take a look at basic autopilot and refresh ourselves with what it really offers. First off, basic autopilot comes standard with every Tesla. No additional cost is required, and it comes with two basic features. You have traffic-aware cruise control, which matches your speed to the surrounding traffic around you. With traffic-aware cruise control, if the vehicle in front of you speeds up, your Tesla speeds up. If it slows down, your Tesla speeds down. So this avoids you from having to apply your brake to disengage cruise control, and it just stays at the speed constant to the traffic around you. The second piece of basic autopilot is auto steer. Auto steer combines traffic-aware cruise control with the ability to keep your Tesla in a specific lane. As long as that lane is clearly marked, your Tesla will stay within that lane. That's really the extent of the features you get with basic autopilot. Now with Enhanced Autopilot, you get those basic features plus 5 additional features. Auto lane change gives you the ability to change lanes with your Tesla without having to disengage autopilot. By engaging your turn signal, Tesla Vision will make sure there's no traffic around you and safely change lanes for you, all while keeping traffic-aware cruise control and auto steer fully engaged. The second feature is Navigate on Autopilot. This is the big feature that you get with Enhanced Autopilot. And this is where the full self-driving piece kind of fits into things. Provided you're on the highway, Navigate on Autopilot will navigate you to your destination. Enter a destination on your Tesla navigation system. Navigate on Autopilot will navigate you to the destination. Now, this feature is only active on the highway, and it is not enabled until you hit the entrance ramp to the highway, and it's automatically disabled when you hit the exit ramp for your destination. The third feature is auto park. So if you're freaked out about parallel parking or backing into a parking space, auto park will do that parking for you. You also have two capabilities. One of them is known as summon, and the second one is known as smart summon. Summon will bring your vehicle towards you. So if you're in a tight parking space where someone's parked too close to you where you can't get in your vehicle, you can use summon from your phone and back that vehicle out of the parking spot so you can get into it. Smart summon is summon on steroids, where your Tesla will navigate towards you in a parking lot. Think of it this way. Maybe it's raining when you walk out of a grocery store. Your vehicle is parked at the end of the lot. You can use Smart Summon to bring your vehicle towards you, and it will navigate through the parking lot, avoiding the traffic. Now, unfortunately, Auto Park, Summon, and Smart Summon are 3 features that are not currently available with Enhanced Autopilot. Why? Well, they use the functionality found in the ultrasonic sensors that Tesla has been removing from their vehicles since October 2022. Now, don't even get me started on that. I did another video on the removal of these ultrasonic sensors, and you can take a look at that at the card that I'm posting here at the top of the screen. Needless to say, what Tesla is doing is they're removing functionality from the vehicle, hardware from the vehicle, that is required for Auto Park, Summon, and Smart Summon to work. Now, they're planning on replacing that with some updates to Tesla Vision, but we're going to have to wait for those updates to get rolled out. So is Enhanced Autopilot worth this additional cost? I mean, that really depends on what you want to use it for. In my case, I've got a long commute to work it's mostly highway driving, leveraging Navigate on Autopilot, and more specifically auto lane change when I'm using Autopilot was a feature that I was willing to pay for. Speaking of EAP features, let's take a look at what a typical drive looks like.
You know, the one thing that I've noticed about Enhanced Autopilot and even Autopilot in general is just the kind of the how conservative it is when it's on the highway here, where I may have, like in this case here, where I may speed up a little bit to get past this truck that I just passed on the left. I still have plenty of room in front of me. The car is holding back. You can see the speed, it's dialed down. I still have room. So in this case, I'm going to kind of like accelerate here and move over. And it kind of delayed there a little bit, because there was these two cars coming up in the far left lane. You notice them. So the auto lane change piece was somewhat delayed there. And that's something that I've noticed more and more. And I can't necessarily complain about it because the car is trying to be safe. But when it pauses like that, I start getting concerned about other cars coming up on me, whether it's right behind me or in the lane that I'm trying to change into, which to me creates additional concerns. So it's just, I have a hard time with how careful the car is being at times. So now, we've got people merging here. We've got this truck up here on the right. He looked like he was trying to get over, but decided against it, so makes me a little bit nervous there. See it. Now it's auto lane changes, wanting me to get over. So I'll humor it. I'll get over. And you notice it asked me to confirm the lane change. And that's because of the setting that I have. I don't necessarily trust it enough right now to do the lane change on its own. I can change that setting under Enhanced Autopilot settings. But until I get a better feel for how Navigate on Autopilot and auto lane change is working, I've decided not to use that setting here. And you can see these lanes are not the normal lanes. There was some construction going on here last summer, so they've got some paved lanes here. I don't know how well the camera's picking this up. There's a huge glare from the sun coming in from the east as it's coming up. And the car, where it makes it difficult for me to see and squint through it, but the car picks it up okay. So it's asking for a lane change here. I confirm it. As long as you keep your blinker on, and the blinker is what confirms the lane change for the vehicle, at least until you're about halfway over that center line, it'll take you through the lane change. I have noticed in prior cases where I didn't keep my blinker on long enough, I just kind of tapped it up to hold it and came off of that turn signal, and the car canceled the lane change. So we've got traffic merging in here from another highway. Now I know we've got a split where I'm getting off on another highway here in about 6 miles. Cover that windshield wiper thing here in a minute. I know I have to be in the far right-hand lane for this highway split, so I'll be interested to see how long it's going to take the car to get over to that lane change. Because traffic can get kind of heavy up here, and you wait too long, you kind of find yourself in jail and have to ask for some forgiveness to get over. So you'll notice the windshield wipers are going on here, and it's not raining. This is one of the annoyances with Autopilot. Currently, if you engage Autopilot, the auto wipers turn on. You'll notice here if I try to shut them off, I cannot turn off my autopilot. Exactly. And I kind of get it, right? It's trying to keep the area over the camera clear so it can do its thing. But it's really annoying because there is absolutely no condensation, precipitation, water, whatever you want to call it, on the windshield. So there's no reason for these wipers to be going off right now. So you just kind of got to live with it unless you want to shut off autopilot. So it's asking me to do a lane change, confirm a lane change to the left because my speed has slowed down to what my max speed is set to. So again, that's a different setting. Control how aggressive you want it to be. I'm ignoring that suggestion to change lanes because I know I need to get over to the right here. All right, so I am going to force a lane change here. Does its thing. And I'm going to do another lane change. And a little bit of hesitation there when I first asked it to do its lane change, but then it was just like a split-second thing. But actually, it's been working pretty well this morning. So it's taking this slight curve on the highway at about 70 miles an hour, slowed down a little bit. I've got brakes in front of me. The car is slowing down on its own. We are going directly east, and I shouldn't say directly east, but we're going somewhat east. The sun is shining on us. So let's see how it does here related to coming up on all this traffic. It wants me to do a lane change. I got cars coming up. I'm not really going to do that. I can do it now. Interesting, a little bit of hesitation there. And this is what's frustrating to me a little bit. So it did its lane change okay, but now it's taking forever to speed up. It luckily y'all can't see. I didn't have any cars behind me, but there was a definite lag around executing that lane change, which was smart because if I would have stayed in that lane, I would have had to get off on that exit. I forgot about that there. But that's the one thing I've noticed. There is this lag that the vehicle has. It's not as intuitive as if I was controlling the car. I guess I'm a little bit more aggressive driver than what Autopilot is. Now, is that a bad thing? Not necessarily, but it can annoy some other people that are used to maybe more aggressive style. So I'm not going to bore you with the entire commute on the way in. Seemed like it did fairly well. Let's go to the lane change here to get around some slow traffic. So, yeah. Hope you guys found this helpful. We'll experiment with some of the other settings in Enhanced Autopilot and take a look at those in some future videos. Now the question is the cost, that $6,000 cost for upgrading to Enhanced Autopilot, worth it? I'm going to tell you it's not, and we'll get into that throughout this video here. Over the course of the last 6 months, I've used Navigate on Autopilot, Auto Lane Change through my daily commute, through normal day-to-day driving, and on a long-distance road trip. And I can tell you the value that I've gotten out of it isn't really worth that $6,000 cost. But what we're going to talk to in this video is my logic around why it's not worth that added cost. So here's my experience over the last 6 months. And I'll list them in terms of greatest value to least value. Auto lane change. Now this is the one feature I think I get the most value out of. Auto lane change will change lanes for you while keeping autopilot engaged. Now that's a huge difference over basic autopilot because as soon as you try to change lanes with basic autopilot, autopilot disengages. With enhanced autopilot, if you're coming up on a vehicle, it's moving too slow, you turn on your turn signal, autopilot will check to make sure there's no traffic in the lane next to you and change lanes for you. Now you might be thinking that seems pretty lame. And while on the surface it might not seem like a lot, just having that ability to
cruise while you're on autopilot and being able to activate your turn signal and letting the car change lanes for you, it's a nice little feature. Is it worth that $6,000 cost? Yeah, definitely not. But it's the one thing that I think I get the most value out of. Second on the list is navigate on autopilot. Now, this is one I don't use a lot of unless I'm doing a road trip or something, especially in an area that I may not be familiar with. Navigate on autopilot will let you enter a destination on your Tesla navigation system. And once you're on the highway, it will navigate you to that destination and will use the features in auto lane change to ensure that you're in the correct lane if you need to get off on a certain exit or follow the appropriate highway. That's one of the key features that intrigued me about the Enhanced Autopilot product, and I thought I would use it quite a bit, but in reality, I'm really not. I use it when I'm doing road trips or I'm in an area that I may not be familiar with. And while it seems like it might have some value, I'm finding that I really don't use it a lot, especially because on my daily rides, I know where I'm going. I know how to avoid traffic if traffic's bad. I know the appropriate routes to take. I don't need to be tied down to navigate on autopilot and it's kind of one-dimensional view as to it knows I only need to go in this certain area. Now, I've used it quite a bit for my extended road trips. We've done a road trip to South Carolina. We've done another one to Orlando, Florida. And I have used it, and it helps me, especially if I'm not really focused on where I'm going or I'm in an area that I may not be familiar with. It helps me ensure I'm in the right lane to take such and such a highway or get off on whatever exit I need to get off on. Now, there's three other features included in Enhanced Autopilot, and they're all kind of gimmicky. You get Auto Park, Summon, and Smart Summon. Now, unfortunately, with my Tesla, those three features are not available to me because they leverage the functionality in the ultrasonic sensors, and ultrasonic sensors are not included on my 2023 Model 3. So in my case, 60% of the features that I purchased with Enhanced Autopilot, Auto Park, Summon, and Smart Summon, I haven't even been able to use because they're not enabled for me. So I can't even review them for you here. So of the two features that I do have, Navigate on Autopilot and Auto Lane Change, while they work pretty well, at least for the most part, I find that I don't use them on my day-to-day drives because they just don't work well for me in heavy traffic. And most of my driving right now is in rush hour traffic in the morning and evening on my way to and from work. Where they do seem to work well for me is when I'm in areas that don't have a lot of traffic, such as taking extended road trips. Unfortunately, not well enough to justify a $6,000 cost. So is Enhanced Autopilot worth the $6,000 cost? I'd say absolutely not. Save your money. Now, if you've got a newer vehicle, a 2023 vehicle or a Model 3 or a Model Y that was produced or built in October 2022 or later, you don't have the ultrasonic sensors and you don't have 60% of the features in Enhanced Autopilot. So why would you pay for a product that is supposed to have 5 features but only has 2 available to you? It's just not worth it. So you might be thinking, okay, Craig, why did you buy it? Why did you buy a product that only had 2 of the 5 features available? Well, to be honest, at the time that I ordered my Model 3, which was in the summer of 2022, ultrasonic sensors were still part of that vehicle. They weren't removed until October-ish 2022. And at the time, Tesla was stating, we're going to temporarily disable those 3 features. But stay with us here because Tesla Vision is going to be better and it's going to replace the functionality that relied on the ultrasonic sensors. Well, now they've started to do that. They just recently rolled out Tesla Vision's Park Assist feature, which is using the cameras to help replace some of that functionality that was in the ultrasonic sensors, but they're not fully there yet. So until they get there, to me, it's not worth that $6,000 cost. Now, if you do happen to have the ultrasonic sensors, you've got a vehicle that was produced prior to October 2022, you will have those 5 features available to you. You'll have Navigate on Autopilot, Auto Lane Change, as well as Auto Park Summon and Smart Summon. Now, unfortunately, especially when it comes to Smart Summon, it's really gimmicky, and I'm not sure if you would ever really use it in a real world use case. We upgraded my wife's Model 3 to full self-driving for a month when we took it to Florida. Now, before we canceled that service after a month, we took it to an empty parking lot to try out Smart Summon. We just wanted to see how it worked. And it was a miserable failure. It could not navigate around this empty parking lot to us. I don't think I would ever use it or trust it in a real world situation in a parking lot that was full of cars. So what about in the future? So Tesla has just recently merged their code stacks for full self-driving and autopilot. And it's being tested by the full self-driving beta users right now. Now, what this means is Autopilot will now be leveraging the technology in full self-driving as part of its Autopilot and Enhanced Autopilot features while on the highway. Now, my guess is at some point, Enhanced Autopilot and Autopilot will be able to leverage that technology, assuming Tesla rolls that out to the standard Autopilot or the upgraded Enhanced Autopilot users. These technology changes should provide some enhanced functionality and benefit to the Autopilot and Enhanced Autopilot user base. Will it be worth the upgrade cost when that happens? That remains to be seen, so we'll see. I would personally save your money, especially if you don't have the ultrasonic sensors. It is just not worth $6,000 at this point in time. I don't know if it will ever be, but for now, it's not worth the $6,000. You can always upgrade down the road. You don't need to purchase Enhanced Autopilot at the time of purchasing the vehicle. You can upgrade at any time through the Tesla app. You don't have the ability, at least right now, to subscribe on a monthly basis like you can with full self-driving. But if down the road, the features and the benefits for Enhanced Autopilot improve greatly, you can spend the $6,000 and upgrade at that time. Now, there's always the risk that Tesla will raise the cost of Enhanced Autopilot like they've been doing with full self-driving. So by the time some of these additional features are rolled out, that $6,000 cost could be considerably more. That is about it. Save your money. It's not worth it at this point in time. Hope you guys found this helpful, and we will see you in the next video.